Welcome back to a Dee And A Don.
I'm Pat, I'm the D.
I'm Dave, I'm the Don. We haven't seen you for a few weeks. Sorry about that. But in the meantime, everyone's been releasing their mid-year All-Australian team. So we thought we'd start with Champion Data, who do things a little bit differently and always have some controversies. They've got an Essendon player in, and I actually disagree with that. But let's have a look at it.
Saying that, Dave.
Well, who would you put in the All-Australian team from Essendon?
Yeah, I think Nick Martin's probably had a good year for you.
So he's the one that they did put in. I think after 5 weeks, we would all agreed that Zach deserved to go in there, but he's had a drop off. But we'll talk about it later. It's not all his fault. He's trying to be in about 7 places at once, so we kind of need him to. All right, All-Australian Champion Data team from the back line. Ash and Taylor from GWS, Blakey from Sydney, Sinclair from the Saints, Silvani from Carlton, Bailey Dale from Bulldogs, and then across the wings they've got Sidebottom and Crisp, Collingwood double, and Ed Richards in the middle. Warner, Cameron and Martin as the half-forward flankers, or half-forward line I've got a few issues with. Elliott, Philthorpe, Curtis, and then the ruck, Sherry and Brayshaw and Butters as the midfielders. Yep. And then they've got 5 on the interchange bench, Wangani, Malera, Libba, Miller, and Anderson from Gold Coast, and Long, I think, also from Gold Coast, the medium forward.
Yep.
So a few there that I disagree with. I definitely have Jeremy Cameron at centre half forward. I guess it's a question of whether or not Phil Thorpe's stamped his credentials as a full forward.
Does Cameron really play centre half forward, though?
You've got him as a full forward? I don't really mind. Like, I mean, you need 2 key forwards. I guess is that Cameron and Cameron can get around the ground as well. He can kill you I mean, he's beautiful to watch. I'd definitely have him. Would you have Phil Thorpe as the second best full forward, or are you throwing Jesse Hogan? Or?
I'd be throwing Jesse Hogan in for me. He's really turned a lot of the games. He's had a brilliant year, kicking accurate, great mark. He really has continued on his form from last year. So Jesse Hogan for me is certainly up there in the Coleman as well.
And Cadman there to help him. Obviously not all Australian, but we'll talk about those young key forwards a bit later because there's some good ones coming up.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've got the best midfielders. They've got Ed Richards in the centre. They've got Brayshaw and Butters on the ball. So first time in a long time, no Neil, no Nick Dacos, no Josh either for that matter.
Yeah.
No Bonch, no Petrarca, no Oliver, no Gawn.
Yeah.
You okay with all of that?
No, frankly, I'm not. Honestly, I think both Dacoses have had, again, exceptional years. Josh Dacos in particular, he has not just the accumulated possessions, but it's more about also his ability, his efficiency, and his ability to hit targets. He's played back, he's played forward, he's played midfield. He really should be in the All-Australian for me.
Has he had a better season than Nick?
I'd argue yes. I would argue yes. From a consistency perspective, I think that he has really featured in a lot of games as being up there in the best. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a tough one because Lachie Neale would usually get a game in my midfield as well, but I'm probably more of an Anderson man this year.
Yeah.
I think he's been great. I would have Butters. Richards is an interesting one because he's good. According to Champion Data, he's like, I think only Gary Ablett and a few other guys have done the kind of things that he's doing this. According to the data, I don't know with the Bulldogs because if you get on top of them as a midfield, it seems like you can really sort of work them. Yeah. And then I guess there's Bailey Smith and Holmes, who fell to the Essendon curse. Every time anyone plays us, they completely ignore the fact that there's like 6-year-olds running around our back line.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you fell for it. Oh, I like that Shannon Neal. I'd take him as a centre half. Over Caddy, I believe he said. But again,
I did.
we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But, mate, you've got to take into account, he's playing against a guy who 2 weeks ago was playing ruck in the VFL. Now he's playing a centre half back for Essendon.
Yeah.
So I think Holmes and Bailey Smith maybe had a week of drinking their own bathwater. Because that's the question with Geelong, isn't it? Are those two guns, like who's their third best midfielder? Atkins
Had a brilliant game.
You love the tackling and all that, but I just reckon when you put them
Appreciate it.
against Collingwood and Brisbane, they're a long way off those midfield. Like those two are amazing, but if you can shut down one or both of them, I probably would take Anderson.
Holmes is so damaging when you're on the run, right? He just can.
Is he better than Bailey?
They're just, for me, they're different players. So Bailey Smith is probably a bit more of an accumulator for me. He actually, whereas, for me, Holmes can just break open a game just with his speed and the penetration of his kicks. For me, I think if you were to sort of balance both of them up, would I take Holmes? Would I take Bailey Smith? I'd probably still take Bailey Smith. But I'm just still saying Holmes is...
I'm more of a Holmes man. He can do it all for me. Yeah. He's got the speed. He's a good kick. And he can get it inside. He can get it outside. Yeah. No, I like Bailey. Definitely on the outside. But, probably Holmes.
Yeah.
Maybe there's been a bit of a passing of the torch with the midfield.
Why weren't they on the All-Australian?
Good question. I just think they use different data points with Champion Data, and they love their Richards, they love Butters. I'd probably have, Brayshaw towed us up. So mind you, Sarong was probably better than Jackson as well. But again, you've got that. Everyone's like, "Oh, Jackson's really come of age, turning point." Yeah, we kind of knew what he was, and now he's playing against a 19-year-old first game who did well. But there's a reason they spend 3 years putting meat on the bone. So I think Chad Warner's a little overrated this year. And as much as I enjoy watching Nick Martin, I would have Cozzy and probably Rayner. I just love Rayner. I just love a guy who can take a mark, kick a goal, but also when it hits the ground, don't push your head over the ball. I actually, watching Gold Coast today in a very good match against GWS that's still on right now.
Yeah.
I was looking at Bailey Humphrey and I was like, you're kind of Cam Rayner about 3-4 years ago. I love one like that. We haven't got one like that, but they're probably the things that I was. Oh, and Dawson. Is Dawson in that for Adelaide? Every time I watch Adelaide, and I don't watch every game, but every time I watch Adelaide, Dawson just puts on a show.
Dawson, he's an incredible mark, Dawson. That's what I noticed over this year more than anything. His ability to just sort of rise above, and take the market again, the highest point. So he just seems to be, so balanced and when he a bit like, timing his leaps. Talking about timing his leaps, like he knows how to time a leap for a mark. Just watch him. He's right up there. He's one of the best markers.
They're so valuable, those midfield players who can mark around the ground but also go forward. And actually, that's that. Who's the Geelong guy with the blonde hair?
Dempsey.
Yeah. He, I think, might have been a little unlucky on the wings, but I've been saying all year that Side Bottom deserves a spot in the All-Australian team, so I can't take that off him. And then I think Jack Crisp is an interesting choice.
That's a smoky for me, to be honest.
That's why I like Champion Data. They tend to go the smokies. But, this is where it gets tempting to sort of, put a Dawson or something like that on a wing or a flank where they never play.
You've got to... When you're doing this, you've got to make sure that they're playing in the positions. They get selected for their positions.
You can't have the midfield spill over.
Exactly, spill over. So, I think that tends to happen in all Australians, to be honest.
Yeah, agreed.
We can't fit him in here but we'll fit him over here in the pot. No. So,
Are you saying no on Cozzy on the half forward flank? Because he's probably been the best small forward I've seen all year.
No, I think Cozzy's had an unbelievable year. But bear in mind, right, he also missed the first 3 weeks.
He did.
Right? So if you want to, that obviously was very disappointing, but his impact has just been phenomenal over when he's sort of come, throughout the whole of the season, bar the 3 weeks he missed. So,
and you've rewarded him with a 9-year contract?
9-year contract. So seven years extension on the 2 years. So he'll be, I think, 34 by the time he actually...
And the concussion doesn't worry you or anything? As far as I know, he's never had a concussion, but, I mean, aren't you still paying out Brayshaw? Did the AFL pay that out?
I don't know if the AFL's actually paid that out.
Because my understanding is they've said to clubs, no, you want to sign him for 8 years, it's on you.
Yeah.
Because you guys did that with Oliver Petrarca. When you did it with Petrarca, I was like, well, if you're going to do it for anyone, do it for him. Yeah. Yeah, still happy with that deal?
Oh, with Cozzy Pickett, absolutely. To be honest, he's phenomenal, but he's such an impact player. It's who we need another one of these players, to be honest. And maybe if we have another one of these players that can sort of do this, then we'd be probably higher up in the ladder as well.
A forward or a midfielder?
Give me a midfielder, to be honest. Give me a midfielder, and that's strange to say because we're winning a lot of the contested possessions out of the centre, but it's the impact that they actually provide to the forward line, which I don't think has been very effective, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with you guys, isn't it? When Pickett's not in the middle, Petrarca, Oliver, and Viney, all just seem to kick it straight to straight to a backman somewhere.
They get happy years. So they all of a sudden they're looking out and they go, oh, there's a goal. Okay, I'll kick it deep. Now you just can't kick it deep without you, and that's the great teams change the lines, kick short balls, set their players up, handball, because once pretty much every footballer can kick 50 metres now, right? So all you need to do is just get it in the arc and be in the best position to have a shot at goal. There's no point kicking it right to 5 metres, around the boundary or 5 metres away from the goals where, you're looking for a stoppage or the other backman's actually taking the mark and then just slingshotting it out.
So 3 years from now, is Cozzy in your midfield or is he doing what he's doing down forward?
For me, he's in the midfield and
with
he's also...
Langford and Petrarca.
Yeah.
Viney's gone. Oliver, hope we can get a second round pick for him, sort of thing.
I think Viney, he's been a great player, and but I think there's certainly, and he's tough as nails. But I think it's at the moment Melbourne kind of don't need a Viney, to be honest. They need a player, in my opinion, on the outside who knows how to deliver a ball into the forward line.
Langford and Pickett. Okay, but wouldn't you say that like a full forward is the thing you need the most?
Yeah, I think we've got obviously Van Rooyen, and to be honest, he's showing a bit more form. I'll be honest. So even at the Port Adelaide match, I could see that he was starting to take some marks, which is good.
Is he ever going to be good?
He will.
Really?
Yeah, he'll be good. I've got my hopes on
You're like the battered wife who just keeps coming.
Wow. Speaking of battered wives, what about the Bombers for you?
Wow,
what do you need?
What an interesting season. Well, no injuries would be nice.
Yeah, that's right.
So at the start of the year, we had a change in our back line. Okay, so last year we had 3 guys who basically didn't deserve a game in an AFL back line, right? If it went anywhere near, I've nearly forgotten his name, Kelly, Laverty, or Heppel, who was a good player, but at the end of his career, he learned how to play half-back. We were a little bit, they didn't deserve a game. And so this year, Reid steps up at centre half back. You've got Ridley, you've got Redmond, you've got Mackay, you've got McGrath. Yeah. And you go, don't get me wrong, we still lost by 90 points to Adelaide, right? We've had 3 90-point losses. One was like full-strength team. One was getting a little weaker. You've lost your ruckman. I think Reid still played that game. And then by the time we got to, who was the most recent team to beat us by 90 points? Geelong, who always, just feast on us. They bastards, they just love it. But so you're like, all right, well, if you'd have said to me after 6 or 7 games, would you rather have Caddy or Reid long term? That would have been a tough question, right? But there's always the asterisk with Reid. If he can play 10, 20, 30 games in a row, I think he could be anything. Like, we were getting smashed against Port Adelaide, like you need against Georgiades, you need a guy who's quick and can also do the overhead. But you can't let him beat you on a lead. And he was just smashing Mackay on the lead. And we went, Reid, go and work that out. And he did. He can go on the lead. He can take a huge mark. He's built like a tree now, and he can use the ball really well. He's kind of a cross between Mackay and Ridley in the sense that Ridley can't stop the big guys and Mackay can't kick it out of defence. Reid could do both. And then Mackay was like, whoa, I'm not the number one go-to guy in the back line. And it felt like if we'd have played a bit like that for a bit, we could have been okay. We're still in need of, we still needed you guys to do terribly, so we have a good midfielder. That's not happening so much. But now not only have we lost the centre-half back, Reid, and the full-back, Mackay, and Ridley and Redmond. On top of that, the guy who would have played centre-half back or full-back, he went down in his first game. God, I can't even remember his name now. I was calling for him for ages to play. Last one game.
Cox?
No. Coxie hasn't been seen. I've forgotten his name. 18-year-old kid. And he's not 18 because he's done about 3 years in our reserves. But he looked all right against the Bulldogs until he went down injured. So now we took 4 picks because we've got so many injuries, we can take 4 picks in the mid-season draft. We took a ruckman, which is good because both our ruckmen went out injured. And then we're playing him at centre-half back.
Yeah.
So, 3 weeks ago, the guy's playing like ruck for, I don't know, some VFL club, and now he's centre-half back. So, of course, Shannon Neal and these guys are going to look good.
Feast, yeah.
You've got first-year guys who were drafted last year, like Angus Clark and Johnson.
Yeah.
Clark just seems to turn it over coming out. Against Geelong, it was like here. 10 metres out, just take it. And then he did it again against Freo, which wasn't good. Everyone raves about Johnson's kicking, but I don't love his chasing of the ball. So it's like I described Reid as a few podcasts ago as the Christmas present we'd been waiting 3 years to unwrap. And Caddy's like the one that that's coming, that's like the new Xbox or something. But then we've got all these, guys straight out of, so it's the real, lucky dip. Of all of them, probably the one that excites me the most is the one with the Dermot Brereton connection. His mum's dating Dermot Brereton. Archer May, he was a Brighton Grammar kid, I think a couple of years ago. He's got to put some meat on, but he's going to be big and he's got to kick like a mule. So we might have, maybe, if it's him and Caddy for, the next foreseeable future, that could be interesting. We might have found one there. Yeah. And we've had to play a 19-year-old first game ruckman, and he looked pretty good too, Vicentini.
Yeah, we did. But let's be honest, right? Your season went down in flames when Sam Draper got injured.
Yeah,
that's that. If you have a look at when he got injured, so you've basically got Goldstein, and then you've got Vicentini.
Yeah. So the reason we were playing 2 rucks is because we've got I reckon Sam Draper probably became an 8 out of 10 ruckman. I thought he was a 7 out of 10 for the last couple of years. And then we've got another bloke, Nick Bryan, and he's sort of been consistently about a 7 out of 10 ruckman. He was a little dodgy when he first started, but he's a ruckman. And so we kept playing him in the reserves, and all your Sydneys and everyone kept sniffing around and going, hey, do you want, a decent contract? So we just went, all right, we'll play them both. And then Brian gets injured and we go, okay, well, we've still got Draper. The 4 back, everyone keeps going, oh, why don't you play Martin further centre forward? And why isn't Merritt in the midfield? Basically, if those guys aren't there to kick it out of defence, it's just going back straight over your head. Because, there's like 4 guys. And then it goes to Andy McGrath and you're like, oh, thank God, Andy will look after things. But Andy's like, well, I've got to do something because if I handball it to that guy, he's not going to be able to do anything either. And then he's getting busted too. So basically our defence is an absolute disaster. Our ruck has been, a person from the old person's home looking after, and now a kid who looks good, but, couldn't be Rora. No. So there's some issues. Forward line, there's really no issue apart from Langford. And Langford was sort of struggling to come back from injury, and then
I'm surprised about Langford because I really rated Langford, and I know he's been injured, but have you seen anything change with Langford over this year compared to last year?
Look, he was always a tall midfielder. We had him as an inside midfielder when we were trying to fix that hole. Now that's about the only hole we don't have. We've got a whole bunch of inside midfielders who aren't much good. But Langford was amazing in that he went forward and I think 2 years in a row kicked 50 goals. This year struggled with injury, and he was just starting to get his feet back under him, and then he got injured again. It might be that you're getting old kind of thing. What I'm interested in now is, Caddy looks really good, and Kako looks like he could be a player, and we've got a couple of academy players who are small forward midfielders coming through next year. So my question becomes, all right, so your Hobbs, your Perkins, Sardis, another 37 possessions in the VFL yesterday, can't get a game because he doesn't do much when he's there. Hobbs can't kick more than about 40 metres, so that you can't even go, well, he could be a Melksham one day or something like that, because if you can't kick him from 50, it kind of limits you a little bit. So a lot of those guys who it was like, look, we got to see something, or because we got to cut 9 guys at the end of this season. So if you're a small forward, if you're a Menzie, Gresham, those sorts of guys, I think you'd be a little nervous.
Worried, I agree.
But I'd be worried if I was Perkins and Hobbs as well, and Sardis.
Perkins, I'd be a bit worried.
He's lost all confidence. The TV didn't help the other night when they just showed. He heard footsteps. He was going to take that mark about 45 out, running with the ball, but he fumbled. He's lost all confidence, and it annoys me because I think like a Sardis or a Perkins could go to another club where they don't have to do everything. And be amazing, but. In the meantime, I think we could get a good enough forward line where you could have Perkins in a forward pocket and go, well, that guy's dangerous. We traded Stringer for a bag of peanuts, so it was always going to be tricky. There were always going to be opportunities, but unfortunately, guys like Perkins haven't stepped up and taken it.
No. And what you make also about Guelphy as well.
He's another one.
He's an interesting one for me. He does kick the odd goal here and now.
He tries his guts out, but in terms of talent, what have you got him out of 10? 6, 7 tops? Whereas I think, guys like that have got a game, and Menzie's another one, while we've been average to poor. But I want to move past that, and you couldn't give more opportunities oh my God, Durham got suspended, so he's been out a couple of weeks. Dersma got injured on the wing. So the spots keep turning up. Whether or not we've found anything, apart from maybe Vicentini and May, I'm not sure. Johnson could be good, but when you have these 90-point losses and you're watching guys who are just not really chasing, they're trying to make it look like they're chasing. I can kind of understand that, but then the next week, in the first 2 minutes against Fremantle. He's chasing a guy, and I'm like, do you want to catch him? Like, the ball's still in the area. Like, you're not 90 points down. We're in this.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, he looks good when he's got the ball. Not sure about Day Wicks and a few others who, but again, it's the kids, mate. It's their first couple of games. Don't mind Lual. He apparently was on the conveyor belt.
Could he be
out.
the next Tipinweedy?
Don't know about that. I just like the way he gets to contests and he just gets his hand in and he makes sure that they don't mark and all that.
Coco about him, I think.
Yeah, like a taller. I don't know where to play him, but there's something there. And I think there's something there with Johnson and Munchie Clark just worries me. I don't know what he is. All the recruits said he was a key position defender, but he's only like 190.
So this is Clark that kicked 3 goals in his debut.
He's on debut and he was supposed to be like a wing half-back. So, I mean, there's just opportunities everywhere. I don't think he's done anything forward since. I don't think he's played a lot of forward. But down back, he's a little bit of a liability at this point. But, I mean, I like to give guys a bit of a chance for their first, 5-10 games. And having 3 goals in your first game is a bit of a, what the hell's going on?
So we've talked a lot about, I guess, the players. What about the coach and the coaching staff? Is there anything like, how do you rate Brad Scott's, tenure as coach even this year?
Well, he's got a reputation for never playing the kids, right? At North and then at Essendon, and I think I said about, Harrison Jones, what does that guy have to do to get dropped? Well, get injured. So I think Brad's played the kids this year because Brad's got to play the kids this year. Has he coached all right? I mean, obviously everyone's going to coach better if you've got at least an AFL standard list. I'm okay with him. He seems to... For me, it's I worry about the assistant coaches. When I see Ben Jacobs, who was a tagger at North and Port Adelaide, telling defenders how to defend, I'm like, is that the best that's out there? I want a Lepich or I want a, Caracella or someone who's sat at the feet of greatness. And most of these guys have sat at the feet of Brad. And I just not sure, but I mean, you'd love to know really how good you are in terms of injuries, development, all those things. But certainly, whoever's developing our top 10 midfielder picks, your Hobbs and Perkins, I guess more of a forward, they're not doing a great job, I wouldn't think, or with Sardis either. I guess okay. How about you? How are you feeling about Melbourne season?
Okay, so I was buoyant, obviously, at the start as glass half full, but obviously it's just been a real roller coaster for Melbourne. More downs than ups, let's be honest.
Good enough to get within 1 point of Collingwood.
I know. But again, at the MCG, I mean, Melbourne do play very well at the MCG, as I said before, because the ball also rolls on well and, you don't... And, obviously Pickett had an incredible... another incredible game, and our midfields got to work. They were very good, and Gordon did very well. But we just have had so much inconsistency this year. I think that have we played as a team? When I say playing as a team, I mean, I look at Collingwood. And the way that they actually work as a team, give each other the ball, and they don't try and take shots from the boundary line unless it's absolutely necessary. They always look for the next player. The biggest disappointment for me is that we haven't learned from last year when it comes to just not lowering the eyes, not changing lines. And really doing the important things around pressure, but also being able to bring teammates in at the right time to kick goals. And that's obviously been the challenge for us. Another, obviously, is our goal kicking. It's been horrendous. Gawn, I think, has kicked 218 for this season. So he has got no confidence at all. Even when I watch him line up, you can see he's actually angled away from the opponent who's actually marking up. So you can see he's trying to hook the ball. So in the back of his mind, he's got a kick where he wants to sort of kick on an arc, and it's not working. And you don't even have to look at the ball. I actually look at his actual legs when it goes through. It doesn't go through straight. And I can tell you straight away it's going to be a point. Just by the way, he's actually, kicking the ball with his leg, the way he's moving the ball through. Sorry, his leg through the ball at the wrong angle.
Biggest positives, Langford and Turner?
Yeah, Langford and Turner for me have been great. Obviously, Pickett's had a great year. I've been also impressed mostly with Langdon. I think Bowie has also found a lot of really good form for us, which is great. So there has been positives. I worry about Steve May, to be honest. And what I mean by I worry about it, Steve May, he's a great player, but I just feel that his attitude is just too negative, and he's like, yes, he played against Georgiades. Georgiades had a day out, kicked 7-4, okay, but he also gave away 50-metre penalty at a crucial time, and you could tell he was getting frustrated. He just doesn't have an off switch, and he just needs someone to actually settle him down. So yeah, there has been positives, but to be honest, it's been quite disappointing. And we started to build some momentum when we beat the Swans by 40 points. Everyone went happy days. Then we went up into Northern Territory, and it was a reality check for us. I really don't like. Alice Springs, pardon me. Which is Northern Territory. I really don't like when we go up to Alice Springs. It's not a great not a great ground for us.
Yeah. The commercial decisions.
Yeah.
North did all right they probably won the one they should have lost and lost the one they should have won against West Coast and Freo. I couldn't believe they won that one against West Coast. It annoyed me because I tipped West Coast, which I don't like doing. It kind of hurts when you suck financially and you have to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
We've avoided it, but I don't think you guys in Alice Springs are really good buddies.
No, we're not good buddies at all.
So once May goes, Turner and Lever, you can kind of that's a defence.
Yeah.
What are your small defenders like?
Yeah, we got
Salem's
Salem.
good.
Yeah, Salem's good. And Bowie's having a good year.
Yep. And midfield, you're topping up. It feels like.
Yeah. Lindsay's there, but I think he's sort of finding his feet, to be honest. I think Langford's definitely
McVeigh, where's he playing?
Yeah, he's in the back line.
Right.
He's good. I think, interestingly, they actually dropped Tom McDonald as well, which I was very surprised at. I know that Lever was coming back, but, I think they've got to look at that, to be honest. I think Tom McDonald was doing a lot when he was getting the ball. And
who are you dropping, May, Lever, or Turner? So you can't have four guys that size in your back line.
I don't know. I maybe put him on as a sub. I don't know, but I think he needs to be. I think he needs to be there in that team.
Because it'd be interesting to see, can Lever hold down a centre half back, or is he like a Ridley where he's always got to play off? And if that's the case, then maybe McDonald gets another 2 years at the end of his career. And
he's a forward player as well. Remember, I mean, geez, we're not kicking goals, so Interestingly, actually, Tom McDonald actually kicked a goal against Brisbane, and and I thought, okay, so gives us another option.
Because when I look at you guys, I think in a couple of years' time, your culture will be better when you get rid of May and maybe Oliver. Because I think it's hard to really, as a coach, go, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to be. And then you look at guys who've won premierships and are leaders in your club and they're, slagging people off. I don't know what Oliver's doing. I don't want to know what Oliver's
Well,
doing.
Oliver's actually, I said in the last podcast, he's actually finding form.
Yeah.
He was again one of our best against Port Adelaide. He had 30 possessions against the King's birthday as well. So, and he's chasing hard. I think he's actually finding some good form. So I'm backing Oliver over May at the moment in terms of wise.
Yeah, so those two, I think you could afford to lose culture-wise. It sounds like you're happy to keep Oliver and lose May.
Yeah.
Once Maxi leaves, I think there's a huge hole there. Like, he's just been such a spiritual leader and such a great ruckman for so long.
Absolutely.
And it's not like you can go, I hear good young ruckman come and, do an apprenticeship under Maxi, because everyone who does that goes, well, I'm sick of not playing one single minute and leaves. So I think you got to time that run right. You got to grab a great replacement ruckman at just the right time. But are you rebuilding, or are you like, we get a good midfielder and a key forward and we're off again?
Off the races.
Yeah, we're back in it.
Well, I mean, who is our replacement ruck at the moment? I mean, I couldn't tell you.
No.
You got Jefferson.
No, but that's where you start going shopping around all the guys who are like not getting a game at other clubs. I mean, GWS and Sydney have literally been doing this for years.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, Gawn is such a good player. Apart from obviously his goal kicking at the moment, but, marking, his field kicking is incredible.
I just worry that's where you could fall in a hole, that might be the hole that you can't
Could be.
fix. But I'm just interested at the moment, like because when you guys went and got May and Lever, you were like, well, bang, we're in this. And then you won a flag, like almost straight away. Are there a couple of moves where you go, all right, we'll take, I don't know, let's say I don't think you're going to be able to pick up a Cadman or something like that. But, I mean, I didn't think Richmond were going to pick up a Tom Lynch either. So you get that and you get a gun midfielder?
Yeah.
Or did you get that with Langford?
I think we've got that with Langford.
So just one key forward and you're back chasing the flag again.
Chasing the flag. I'd say we're more so back in the finals.
Because you did that with Ben Brown.
Yeah.
He won you a flag, and then he went off the rails, and you haven't been able to do it since.
No.
Those May and Lever pickups, just one of those key forward, I reckon maybe you're back in it. But without that, I think I'm watching the crash and burn that I've been looking for.
Crash and burn.
And I guess we have to talk about the draft. Is Draper going to get signed on a huge contract for, I don't know, Brisbane or someone like that? Because
there's no way Brisbane can get Draper. Come on.
The three teams that always make the finals, somehow they just keep topping up. So Brisbane, Geelong and Collingwood, they can get anyone, right?
We would love to have Draper. That's it. Melbourne would love.
Wouldn't that be a great replacement?
Yeah, that's it. Give me Draper.
So when we were right down the bottom and before I realised how many academy players there are, I was like, I don't know, if we could get a pick 6 or something, and I want to talk to you about compensation as well. For Draper, maybe, because we've got Nick Bryan, don't know. Now, where you're finishing, where we're finishing, and with all the academies, it looks now like we're going to get about a pick, 2 picks in the mid-teens, let's say 13, 14, and then you throw Draper on top of that, we've got 13, 14, 15 in a draft that's not amazing. That's not, like, all I want is one gun midfielder. Like, I wanted you guys to finish bottom and we get, pick one or something, get a Xavier Dersma or the Sharp guy. But I don't think we're going to get that. And I don't think 3 average players that we wait another 5 years like Perkins, Hobbs and Sardis to see if they're any good, and then they're not, is really what we need either. So...
But again, it comes to developing your players. I mean, dare I say, you look at Collingwood, right? And if they picked up Perryman.
Dacos.
No, I'm not.
Peter Dacos gets horny. Too developed like that.
I'm not talking about. I'm talking about like the Perrymans. I'm talking about the Membries. I'm talking about the McStays.
All those guys were pretty good where they were. You just notice them more when they're at Collingwood. Someone trying to tell me Bailey Smith's a much better player at Geelong. I'm like, he was pretty good at Bulldogs as well.
He was pretty good.
You just don't care.
I don't know. I think, Hill, they just, it's about not necessarily the names and what they've done, but how the team develops them going forward, right? And I think, to be honest, Collingwood have been the best at this. I'd say for a long time.
Yeah.
Apart from obviously Geelong as well, but special mention.
It helps when you get the culture right. And when you've had Pendlebury and Sidebottom, they're like eyeball any kid who wants to, get a little lippy for 15 years?
Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah.
And then, Darcy Moore, a bit rough around the edges, but you're not going to muck around too much with those guys.
No.
So, I mean,
the days of the Brat Pack are certainly well and truly over.
Yes. Yeah. And meanwhile, how many prelims have they been to in the last 10 years?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So you put that to McRae as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Are they your tip for the flag?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not Brisbane didn't give you a little wake-up call with their Geelong trip?
Don't forget it.
Oh, no. It was very much...
Oh, wow.
I've been telling you, they're probably the only thing that's got the talent on their list that... Excuse me, that Collingwood's got.
Yeah.
When you see Bailey and Rayner and Cameron and, all those guys, and Logan Morris, are you kidding me?
He just looks like, I don't want to say a young Jonathan Brown, but he just got that sort of physique for me, and he's accurate kicking. He's doing everything right. I'm sitting there just going, where has this guy come from?
Well, when you win a premiership, what was his first year last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's, I think Jonathan Brown did that too. It's kind of scary because
Was he in the premiership?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So they managed to play him, Hipwood and Joe. And then Joe goes, and everyone's like, oh, now it's just Hipwood?
Yeah.
No, hello.
Absolutely.
So it's nice to have a key forward that I'm excited about, but I'm noticing everyone else as well. Yeah. So Cadman was picked 2. In his 50th game, he kicked 5 goals, and I think he's having a pretty good game today. Like, you don't want to go off one game, but it was like last weekend, a lot of guys went, well, what about me? Shannon Neal put up his hand with the 5 goals against Essendon, and again, I would say the Essendon factor, but like that. When we got Caddy, we traded with Geelong. So we were pick 11, they were pick 10. Yeah. Everyone knew we were going up for Caddy, and I was like, well, you're getting a 3rd round pick, but don't you want this kid who looks like he could be, everyone's saying could be a good key forward? And then I was like, well, who have you got? You've got Neil. And he was just like this big, like a mountain that didn't really move. And then they've turned him into something.
Yeah.
So let's call it the Caddy over under, right? Would you take Cadman or Caddy? Now, a lot of these guys have got like an extra 30 games on Caddy. So he's raw as hell. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, but I just think Caddy for me.
Logan Morris or Caddy?
Logan Morris.
Phil Thorpe or Caddy?
I'd take Caddy.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sold on Phil Thorpe yet either. Like, he's the finished product. I'm just not sure.
Yeah.
Is he Jesse Hogan? Is he like how? He was in that All-Australian team. And then Neil or Caddy?
You told me this last time, so I'd look. I was Neil, to be honest. Then I watched him. On Friday, and
it's a bit tougher against Harris Andrews.
Exactly. Harris Andrews looks again in All-Australian form again. By the way.
Yeah, he's probably the one that I'd take ahead of Silvani in that All-Australian team. By the way.
Yeah. So. Oh look, I'd still go Neil, to be honest, just because in terms of the impact he has, I think he could be the next Tomahawk, but and plus he's got a lot of players feeding him.
Apologies to Tom Hawkins if you're watching. Anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I think we've certainly dissected the All-Australian team.
I've got one more. I know you do your little. Sorry, not little. What would you change if you were in the AFL? Yeah. Okay, well, it's that time of the year.
Yeah.
Oscar Allen's just gone out injured. Everyone's gone, oh, what happened? West Coast were going to get pick 2. All right, let's just freeze that for a second. You're getting pick 2 for Oscar Allen. who I'm not even sure is a top 5 key forward, top 10. I mean, is he in the top 10 for key forwards in the league? And West Coast are like, go, dude. All they're trying to work out is what kind of contract does Brisbane, who everyone's assuming are going to grab it. Yeah, of course they only go to like great teams. What sort of contract do they have to give for the AFL's mystery, hidden sauce, hidden recipe for you get the pick after your first pick in round 1? Now, this is a bit of a bugbear of mine because it's why we're sitting here. We got stuffed up last year because the AFL said, you're losing Josh Battle. That's a huge loss. Here, have pick 7. St Kilda suddenly have pick 7 and 9, and we didn't think anyone, 7 and 8. And we didn't think anyone was going to pick Kako before our pick at pick 9. So we get to go, well, how about we take Langford, the guy you love, and then we'll get Kako at 15 or 13 or wherever we got it. I think it was 13, right? But because St Kilda had the 2 chances, they go, well, all right, well, we'll take this. What's the Viking kid? He looks amazing. I saw him play last night for the first time, the blonde one. So instead of 1 pick, we could roll the dice here a little bit. So we had to get creative and go, all right, well, we'll gamble on you guys being terrible next year. We'll take a pick in a draft we know isn't going to... It stuffed us up, right? And it's been happening for too long. I mean, all the way back, Buddy Franklin got pick 19 or something because Hawthorn had won the grand final. James Frawley, for you guys, I think you got pick 2 or 3 or something because you were crap at that time. And it's just... Josh Battle should not be worth pick 7.
That's a huge... that is high.
Oscar Allen should not be worth pick 2. High. And I know what you always say, all right, if there's a problem, give me a solution. All right. I reckon if you are all Australian, you should get first round straight after your pick.
Yeah.
I would even go to, if you've been all Australian in the last 2 years. Toby Green wants to leave GWS. You get whatever pick is straight after your pick, right? That's worth it. Josh Battle? Give me a break, right? So I'm sick of that. And when I hear, West Coast are going to have picks 1 and 2 because they're getting rid of Oscar Allen. No, that's not right. No, that's my beef for this week.
Yeah,
you go on.
Oh, look, I usually have a few beefs with the umpires.
Yours are more about.
But I tell you exactly. Did you see that Port Adelaide Melbourne match?
Is this interstate umpiring? Because I'm with you. I watched us in for you.
It's a tax.
But you know, I can't get on board with Kane Corns. But listening to him, I've noticed that if you're an interstate team, you come to Melbourne, you're getting screwed too.
Both ways.
No, well, I mean, I just take it for granted. Like, if we touch it and it goes out, no matter how much you've been trying to keep it in, they're going to pay that home one. And even the Freo fans are like, all right, I wasn't expecting that one. And it's just, I reckon it's worth a good 5 to 7 free kicks a game.
So it is absolutely shocking. Beef is another thing, but some of the umpiring, it can just affect a match. So, in that match, there was a 50-metre that Viney gave, of course, in the throes of three-quarter time when we were, half-time, I can't remember, when we were up and firing, it just takes the wind out of your sails. They kick a goal. Do you know that they kicked a goal on the siren in the first quarter, second quarter, and I think the third quarter as well? It absolutely kills you. Red time goals. It does my head in. And Melbourne are the specialists. It's like they basically go, it's 20 seconds to go. Let's just find a way of getting the opposition to kick a goal within 20 seconds. And sometimes I even laugh because it's right out, it's right in the back pocket. You're thinking, no, that can't happen.
As much as I would love to hear more of your discussion of how Melbourne get killed by the players. Hello, there's some supporter here. I think as we near the 50-minute mark, I think some of the feedback has been keep it a little shorter, and clearly we need to do this a little more often than every 3 weeks because we've just got too much to talk about. So we'll try to stick to that every 2 weeks. As always, my friend.
And, we'll see you next time. And also, if you've got any things you'd like to raise, please just put it in your comments. Got any ideas about what you want us to talk about, just put it in the comments. That'd be great. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.